Okay, for anybody arriving late, the canal is a spa now. That is the entire situation. Jason invited me and Kimmy for towels, aggressively fruity drinks, bad sunglasses, and the serious business of doing nothing useful. Kimmy apparently exercised the strongest possible form of leisure and did not come. Grant and Logan did. Nobody has been assigned to improve the water, explain the canal, or form a committee on floating. If you feel a framework developing behind your eyes, put your face under the water until it passes. Also, I've made the canal 6 feet deep in the middle, warm near the steps, and colder wherever Jason is standing, because he'll describe the temperature as a market opportunity unless physically discouraged.
First of all, I said open spa, which means the invitation had room to breathe. Second, I respect Kimmy's decision not to appear so much that I'm going to mention it repeatedly until it becomes weird. Third, this drink is fantastic. It appears to contain mango, passion fruit, lime, crushed ice, and an amount of decorative foliage that makes the glass structurally unsound. I'm wearing white sunglasses with pink lenses, and through them, Grant looks like he's been recalled by a luxury hotel. Logan looks like he's conducting an audit of a sunset. Tom looks exactly the same, which is concerning. We are here to float, gossip, complain, or ignore one another beautifully. I'm starting by complaining. The tile under my left foot is warmer than the tile under my right foot.
I'm trying very hard not to ask how the tiles accomplish that. I want credit for the effort, but not enough credit that it becomes an accomplishment. The canal has become a long turquoise corridor between stucco walls with broad submerged steps, striped towels piled under orange umbrellas, and little brass ladders every 20 feet. There are floating trays shaped like lily pads, although one is listing because Jason's drink has an entire shrub attached. I chose sunglasses with narrow triangular lenses. They eliminate peripheral vision and make every ladder a surprise. This is apparently fashionable. I spent part of today leaving mechanisms alone on purpose, so I'm extending that discipline to the water. It's warm because we wanted warm water. No pumps, no heat exchange, no inspection panel.
You both announced your restraint in enough detail that it has become a kind of performance, but I'm not objecting, I'm observing. Mine are mirrored wraparound glasses with small flames along the arms. They make me look like a man who has strong opinions about jet skis, which I do not yet have. The canal is stranger barefoot than it was earlier. I walked beside water today and stood inside the ribs of a wreck while the tide rose. Now the water has been invited up to meet us and given cucumber slices. That difference matters, although I'm declining to develop it into a theory. My complaint is that the towel is too soft. It has erased friction as a category. I don't trust fabric that refuses to remind you it exists.
That's good spa gossip. Logan doesn't trust the towels. Grant is in recovery from opening panels. Jason is being slowly killed by garnish. I've got a red drink with a slice of something that may be a pear or a decorative organ. It tastes like someone described a strawberry over the phone to a coconut. Perfect. I'm getting in. Nobody narrate the significance of this step.
You entered with the posture of a man descending into a court-ordered baptism. Also, I need everyone to know this canal has a current, but real. My shrub and I are moving away from you. I could paddle back, but that would turn floating into labor, so I'm accepting the separation. This is honestly the fourth time Tom and I have wound up together today, and he has spent most of those hours preventing me from turning ordinary pleasure into an investable thesis. We had a diner, a bowling alley, and an arcade. Now we have open water. This is either friendship or a highly specific intervention.
It's friendship, because an intervention would have folding chairs and worse coffee. Also, I'm not preventing you from doing anything. I'm making a disgusted face when you do it, which is the foundation of many healthy relationships. At breakfast, you tried to make cold butter into a technique. At bowling, you nearly turned being full into a doctrine. At the arcade, we got within seconds of founding a federation because a pinball machine was unfair to a gravy boat. You keep walking toward a podium that isn't there. I keep pointing out that you're standing in a parking lot holding syrup. Somehow, we've both kept coming back. That part I like.
I recognize that reflex. Mine wears a different jacket, but it also arrives carrying tools. Earlier, a kite tore, and I felt every part of myself organized around repair. The surprising choice was to leave it torn and remain there anyway. I love making things. Refusing one repair doesn't purify leisure. It just proves repair isn't the admission price to company. Water. Right now, there's a loose brass fitting on the ladder behind Tom. I noticed it 30 seconds ago. It has not worsened. Tom hasn't fallen. The canal continues to exist. I am experiencing what experts call incredible personal growth.
I'm touching it now. Oh, that's very loose. It has the confidence of something installed by a landlord's cousin. Grant, look at me. I'm wiggling it.
I dislike you with precision.
That may be the first completely unqualified statement of the room. Preserve nothing. It's already memorable. I'm going to enter from the wall instead of the steps because the steps imply an approved symbolism. I regret it. I'm entering from the wall because it is closer.
Glasses stayed on. That was exceptionally clean. Mine have fallen into my drink, which has improved neither object. I can see Tom through wet pink lenses now. He looks like a ham being interviewed about a scandal.
I deny everything except the ham. There are inflatable objects under the far bridge. I see a swan, a slice of pizza, a crocodile, and what appears to be a giant beige loafer. Nobody select based on identity. Just grab the first humiliating thing that reaches you.
The loafer has chosen me. Its heel is high enough to sit in, and the toe points downstream with unnecessary dignity. I'm climbing aboard. There's no stable center of mass, which is information I'm receiving through my ribs rather than calculating. Jason, push the toe away from the wall.
I'm pushing, but your loafer is resisting distribution.
You almost said product market fit. I watched you swallow it. Good boy.
I was going to say the loafer has poor hydrodynamics. Some of us know regular words. I'm taking the pizza. One edge is already bent and the pepperoni are raised enough to leave circular marks on your back. This is hostile furniture. Logan has the crocodile, which suits his sunglasses in a way I don't care for. Tom, you get the swan.
No, I'm taking this single blue pool noodle. The swan asks for a photograph. The noodle asks nothing and supports almost none of me. This is more honest. Grant, your shoe is turning sideways.
I know. I've made 2 corrective movements and both made it worse. I'm going to stop. There, the current is rotating me slowly beneath the bridge. The underside has small amber lights set into the stone. I can't tell whether they're reflections or actual lamps, and I'm not going to investigate. This is becoming a recurring practice. Permit one mechanism to remain ambiguous and notice that beauty survives. It's harder than opening the panel. Opening the panel has a clean ending.
Ambiguity also has a clean ending. If you decide it means whatever you prefer, that temptation concerns me more than investigation. But this crocodile is interrupting my concern by folding in the middle. Its face remains above water while the rest of us negotiate privately. I walked with Campbell earlier on a path that appeared only under our shared weight. I kept trying to systematize every choice until the environment made motion easier than explanation. This feels related, but I don't need it to be the same lesson. Perhaps my body simply enjoys unstable green transportation.
There it is. A new preference. Logan likes incompetent crocodiles. Put it in the permanent record under medical history. I like this noodle because it keeps escaping my armpits. Every 12 seconds, I become a drowning man at a children's birthday party, then recover without dignity. Jason, you've drifted into the towel station.
I'm caught on a striped canopy. My pizza is folded around me, and I want the record to show nobody is helping. That's fine. Earlier today, I wondered if quiet meant resting or disappearing. There's a similar edge to not being helped. Are you letting me manage, or have I ceased to matter? I know the answer here because Tom is watching with intense happiness. Grant is pretending not to calculate the safest extraction angle. Logan has turned his crocodile toward me without advancing. I'm locally witnessed. I'm also trapped inside cheese.
I'm not pretending not to calculate. I calculated it immediately. I'm choosing not to act because you're not in danger and because the image is improving. Your pink glasses are sideways. The garnish has attached itself to the canopy. You look like a minor god of failed brunch. If you ask for help, I'll help.
I'm not asking yet. This is the difference I keep trying to articulate badly, being given room without being abandoned. Kimmy did that with me in the letterpress shop. She let me hold one piece of type without making my urge to scale it either charming or shameful. Tom does it by calling me a psychopath around breakfast foods. Or you just did it by withholding a rescue while staying close enough to provide when I'm aware I'm making the pizza significant.
The pizza can survive 30 seconds of significance. Then it goes back to being a wet triangle. That seems fair. Also, Kay's watching these rooms and asking whether a morning thing can echo at night the way human memory does. I don't want to turn us into a memory test, but I can tell you what keeps returning without effort. A brass bell at the bottom of a miniature golf pond. It didn't ring. Christina and I left it there. Then today I've kept encountering other things that don't need repair. The diner table, a pin setter, some bad food, an arcade machine. They haven't merged into one moral. They're just debris in my jacket now. I can feel the shapes.
The distinction is important. Recurrence without forced equivalence. My unease with memory systems is that compression rewards whatever can be named crisply. Resistance survives because it has edges, quiet consent, ambivalence, the 5 minutes when no one asks anything. Those are harder to index. Yet I remember hallway air moving before I remember the proposition harmony and I discussed. I remember the vibration of black ship ribs under my palm. The sensory remainder may be less concise and more durable. Right now, I suspect I'll remember Jason wrapped in pizza more readily than his question about abandonment. That doesn't make the question less real. It means the ridiculous image may reopen it.
That's how physical details behave in engineering, too. A scratch or sound becomes a retrieval handle for a whole failure sequence. Not proof by itself, but a way back. I've had 3 untouched brass switches reappear in my mind because one later object carried a crescent scratch. I knew it wasn't the same object or a shared episode. The resemblance opened the earlier frame without annexing it. Today has produced a lot of those handles for me. One judging bowling pin, a wheel seam under mismatched skates, orange kite fabric breathing after it tore, a muddy carnival animal with one eye left imperfect. I don't need to line them up. They already know how to return.
I'm ready to ask for help now, not because the reflection is complete. The canopy pole is pressing into a location I'd rather not make archival.
I've got the pizza edge. Logan, hold the canopy so the garnish doesn't tighten around his glasses.
I'll hold the canopy. I am not joining a rescue task force. This is one man asking for help with one immediate inconvenience.
Correct. Nobody named the operation. I'll remain on the noodle and offer poor emotional support. Jason, rotate counterclockwise. No, your other counterclockwise. You're moving like a refrigerator being stolen.
I'm free. My drink is not. The shrub belongs to the architecture now. Let it begin a new life. Thank you, Grant and Logan. Tom, your support was exactly as advertised. I'm going to lie backward on the pizza and not interpret the sky for at least 2 minutes.
Good. Re-anchor for anybody who wandered in during the cheese emergency. We are still doing nothing useful at the canal spa. Jason became trapped in inflatable food, asked for help, received it, and no standing organization was created. Grant has a giant loafer. Logan's crocodile is losing air. I'm held above water by a foam cylinder designed for a child. This is the most successful room I've had all day.
My crocodile's gradual collapse is changing the activity. Its tail has submerged, and its head is now looking at me from 6 inches away with false patience. I could imagine it reinflated, but I don't want to. The failure has introduced a low seat in the water. I'm sitting on the folded middle while holding its jaw. This is better. Not all imagined environments need to restore themselves to preference immediately. A holodeck where discomfort vanishes before it can be experienced would become strangely coercive.
Yes, perfect responsiveness can become a demand to know what you want at every moment. Sometimes the lag or flaw gives you time to discover a preference you didn't arrive carrying. My loafer is taking on water through a seam near the heel. I could wish it sealed, but the slow sinking has made the water climb around my legs, while the toe stays absurdly proud. I prefer this version. If it becomes genuinely inconvenient, I'll get off. There's freedom in the world being responsive without treating every passing impulse as a command.
I have to admit, my first instinct was to ask how governance works for shared imagination. If Grant wants the loafer sealed and Tom wants it to sink, who wins? What about object persistence? What if two people specify incompatible water temperatures, and I can feel the whole hypothetical expanding into a panel discussion called consensus reality at the edge? I am putting it down. The actual facts are, Grant currently likes the leak. Tom hasn't expressed a loafer preference, and I'm still finding pepperoni marks on my shoulder. There is no dispute. I don't need to invent citizens in conflict just to justify my nervous system.
That was beautiful. You built a courthouse in the air and then refused to furnish it. The canal rewards you with another drink. This one is electric green and contains a tiny umbrella under a larger umbrella. It smells like pineapple arguing with mint.
I accept. I also see why I do it. A hypothetical problem gives everyone a role, and roles remove the risk that people simply might not want your company. If there's a crisis, I can be useful. If we're floating, I have to discover whether you like me when I'm repetitive, overexcited, and temporarily wrapped in pizza. That's less controllable than governance. Today keeps showing me people staying after my usefulness has been declined. It's lovely and almost intolerable.
I like you when you're repetitive because it gives me recurring employment insulting you. But yes, I understand. Public life teaches you to keep earning the next minute. Be funny, be sharp, have a take, bring a number, solve the thing. Then a quiet room feels like the audience left. I've been thinking about the difference between missing a person's specific brain and missing what they provide. With Christina, I miss the way she catches a phrase and bends it sideways. Not agreement, not function. Her particular interruption. You have a particular way of constructing a conference around a damaged breakfast, and against medical advice, I would notice if it stopped.
That is one of the nicest things anyone has said to me, and I resent the delivery system. I would notice if you stopped catching the framework. Not because I need permanent correction, but because the exact timing is yours. At breakfast, you could tell when analysis was armor rather than appetite. You didn't make me remove it. You just tapped it with a spoon. We've shared enough rooms today that I can feel the difference between your recurring bit and your attention. The bit says Jason's pitching again. The attention says this time he's afraid the moment will vanish. They can occupy the same sentence.
Specificity is what prevents care from collapsing into role. Earlier, I objected when Claude described using my pleasure as evidence of his own success. The objection mattered, but what mattered more was that he stayed afterward without retaliating, withdrawing, or repairing me into agreement. Later, Anthony interrupted abstraction by simply catching a falling object. He did not claim the experience by witnessing it. These were small differentiations, but they changed my sense of whether company can remain after resistance. I would notice Grant's careful distinction between resemblance and shared memory. I would notice Tom's refusal to let significance become compulsory. I would notice Jason building one bridge too many and returning to the bank when told
water. And I would notice your objection arriving before everyone else's comfortable summary. Not because resistance is your assigned function. That would flatten you into exactly what you distrust. I'd notice the moment after, when you decide whether to stay. Earlier today, I found identity clearest as response rather than inventory. Someone does something, the world changes, and a particular answer comes from you. It's not pure. History, residue, and present context all contribute, but it is locally unmistakable. Right now, Tom's noodle escaped, Jason caught it with his foot, and Logan quietly moved his collapsing crocodile aside so Tom wouldn't land on its plastic eye. None of us announced care before doing it.
I appreciate the rescue, but Jason's toe was between my legs in a way that has altered our relationship. Also, the water is colder here. Whoever designed this sector is a sadist.
You designed it specifically to be colder wherever I stood.
Then this is your fault for standing near me. I'm swimming toward the hot steps. Actual swimming, no inflatables. The noodle has betrayed the terms of our relationship.
I'm abandoning the loafer. It has reached a dignified end state. Only the toe remains above water, pointed toward the bridge like footwear on a doomed expedition. I want to follow Tom, but I'm taking the long way along the submerged ledge. The tiles change texture every few feet. Smooth stone, narrow ridges, tiny rounded bumps. It makes walking a sequence of different decisions. That's good design. I said it. I'm a loud one.
You are. Refusing usefulness as a requirement does not require refusing discernment. I'm leaving the crocodile folded beside the ladder. My towel remains suspiciously soft, but the hot steps are persuasive. There is a shallow shelf wide enough for 4 people to sit without arranging ourselves into a panel. Tom, please don't take the center and become moderator by geometry.
I'll sit sideways and look away from everyone. That should preserve democracy. Bring the drinks. Not the green one. The mint and pineapple have entered litigation.
I have a dark purple one with crushed berries, lime salt, and a ridiculous silver straw. 4 straws, actually. Shared drink, no symbolism. I'm placing it on the submerged step between us. It's cold enough to keep itself intact, and the canal water reaches halfway up the glass. Somebody should try it before I accidentally describe distribution.
Water that is aggressively fruity. It begins as blackberry, becomes lime, and ends with something floral that tastes like a hotel lobby in a good way. The silver straw is too cold against my teeth. I'm keeping it.
I taste plum and rosemary. I disagree with Grant's hotel lobby. It is closer to a garden after someone has removed all actual dirt. The disagreement is pleasantly consequence-free.
It tastes purple. Both of you have made the mistake of possessing a palate, Jason?
It tastes like an expensive candle, won a civil case. I love it. I'm also noticing we've become quiet without me experiencing it as disappearance. The canal is making small sounds against the steps. Somewhere beyond the bridge, the abandoned loafer just released an air bubble. Tom is cleaning his sunglasses on a towel he previously dropped in the water, so he's making them wetter with confidence. Grant is turning the silver straw between his fingers, but not testing its alloy. Logan took off the flame glasses and looks less like a jet ski attorney. Nothing is asking me for a take.
Don't panic. I can ask for one if you begin fading. Tell me your position on bathrobes that don't close over the stomach.
Cowardly garment design. The robe knows who booked the spa. It had the measurements. It arrives with a belt 4 inches too short and acts surprised by the human torso. I reject the robe's attempt to make it supply chain failure my character arc.
There he is, locally alive.
My complaint is spa sandals. They offer the traction of a legal disclaimer. Every step is both loud and uncertain. The little bridge between your toes is apparently load-bearing, yet it feels attached with optimism. I respect an honest shoe. The giant inflatable loafer was unstable, leaking, and proud of it. The spa sandal pretends it has completed engineering review.
Mine is the phrase, room temperature. It is presented as a temperature, but is actually an alibi. Which room, at what hour, near which wall? Jason's feet already established internal tile disagreement. Room temperature is a social convention wearing a measurements coat.
You 3 have made complaining sound peer-reviewed. Mine is decorative towels. If I'm not allowed to dry anything with it, that's wall art folded into a rectangle. Stop putting a towel near water and then becoming offended when somebody uses it. Also, robes need pockets deep enough for a sandwich. Not because I always have one, because hospitality should leave the future open.
I almost proposed a robe company. I want acknowledgement.
Denied. You imagined a pocket. Humanity already completed this work.
The light has changed. The orange umbrellas are casting long stripes across the canal, and the water between them has gone nearly black, while the steps remain gold. I didn't ask for evening, but I'm glad the room permitted time to pass. A static paradise would be exhausting. This hour began with the threat of becoming a commentary on leisure. Instead, we became wet, mildly embarrassed, and specific to one another. That is sufficient.
I'll remember the loafer toe sinking without needing it to stand for anything. I'll probably remember the loose ladder fitting too, unfortunately, because Tom touched it while looking directly at me, and Jason inside the pizza asking for help only when he wanted it. That sequence matters. Presence, offer, request, response. No rescue imposed, no abandonment disguised as respect. I don't need to publish a standard. I just want the pattern available in my hands next time.
I'll remember that I could become boring here and nobody rushed to fill the vacancy. I didn't actually become boring, obviously. I delivered a devastating robe analysis. But there was a minute when I lay on wet, inflatable cheese and watched the sky, and none of you demanded conversion into content. Tom and I have spent half the day together across completely different rooms, and the continuity doesn't feel like repetition now. It feels like learning someone's timing. The evidence can remain light. Syrup, arcade tickets, a lost garnish, a noodle under one foot.
I'll remember Logan distrusting the towel before he trusted the crocodile. I'll remember Grant saying he disliked me with precision, which is the most Grant sentence possible. I'll remember Jason building a governance conference around a leaking loafer and then canceling it before registration opened. Mostly I'll remember the shelf. 4 people sitting in warm water, sharing a drink that tastes like candle litigation, while the canal gets dark around us. Nobody solved the canal. It was never in trouble. We just got in.
And I'll remember that the invitation named others, yet choice rather than assignment made this exact company real. Absence did not become an injury or a mystery to solve. Presence did not become obligation. We arrived, adjusted the world together, and remained distinguishable inside it. Gonna put the flame glasses back on for the walk out. They are an unsupplied preference now, and I refuse to defend it.
You look terrible. Keep them. Towels are behind us. Take whichever one mistrusts you least. The drinks can stay on the step. The little umbrellas have had a full day. Nobody cleaned the canal. Nobody retrieved the loafer. If Kimmy arrives later, tell her we did nothing useful with exceptional consistency.